The Unexpected Fighter, Lucas's story. Bullies tease the new student, unaware he's a tough fighter. Have you ever been judged before? You even had the chance to reveal everyone what you're really like. Picture being embarrassed every day just because others believe you're weak. Now picture those same bullies learning too late that they've picked the worst possible enemy. This is the story of Lucas, a fragile-looking kid who is targeted by cruel bullies when he starts at a new school. But what they do not realize is that Lucas has a secret killer inside him, and when his secret is exposed, justice will be served in a way nobody could ever imagine. Lucas stepped out of the car, his beat-up backpack slung over one shoulder, looking down. His father nodded brusquely before he pulled away. This was his third school in 2 years. He was a pro at being the new kid. He walked through the corridors and sensed the gaze on him, heard the whispers and the stifled giggles. He didn't fit in with the others. His clothes were plain, no gaudy logos. His hair was short, functional with no trendy cut. And worst of all, he kept his head down, eyes cast downward. To the bullies of this school, Lucas seemed the most vulnerable target. It was during lunch that he first encountered the bullies. Sitting alone at a table in the corner of the cafeteria, he ate in silence when he heard voices approaching. Well, a lonely new kid, Brian sneered. He was the leader of the group. Tall, broad-shouldered, always flanked by his two loyal sidekicks, Max and Leo. Lucas kept eating, not looking up, but that only encouraged them. "Hey, I'm talking to you, dude." Max grabbed Lucas's tray, knocking some of the food onto the table. Lucas took a deep breath, his face impassive. He grabbed his juice nonchalantly and drank it like nothing was wrong. "Oh, is he stupid?" Leo taunted. The other kids around them laughed, entertained by the theatrics. Brian grinned, satisfied. Lucas was vulnerable to him, and vulnerable kids were just new toys that could be shattered. Lucas soon found that silence only aggravated the situation. Brian and his gang took his silence as a sign of weakness, an open invitation to continue harassing him. On the way to school the following day, Lucas was suddenly pushed from behind. His shoulder knocked against the metal with a metallic ring. "Oh, oops, didn't see you there," Brian sang out, laughing with Max and Leo. Lucas massaged his aching back and continued on as if nothing had happened, but that wasn't satisfactory to them. During gym class, the coach split the kids up into teams for a game of basketball. Lucas was put on Brian's team, a mistake. Lucas was always tackled by Brian or his friends whenever he got the ball, fell over his own feet, or had the ball stolen from him before he could even do anything with it. "Damn, new kid, do you even know how to play?" Max taunted after snatching the ball from him. Lucas clenched his teeth, muttering nothing. He wasn't here to make friends, he just had to get through the day. But Brian wasn't done. As they walked back to the locker room, he stepped into Lucas's way. "You know, kid, I believe you're in the wrong place. This is a school for individuals who do matter." Those weren't cruel words. Lucas had heard worse already, but he could tell what would follow. Brian was looking for some sort of reaction, something that would be worth continuing further. Lucas gave him nothing but a blank stare. Then he turned around and walked away. The bullies laughed. "Yeah, that's what I thought," Brian yelled after him. What he didn't realize was that Lucas wasn't afraid. He was thinking, and everything was about to change. By the end of the week, Brian and his group had decided that it was time to bring things to a new level. The new student had been too quiet for too long, and they wanted to ensure that he knew his place. It happened in the cafeteria, right in front of everybody. Lucas had just grabbed his lunch when he was pushed hard from behind. His tray flew forward, food splattering on the floor. The entire cafeteria went quiet for a moment before erupting into laughter. Brian was standing behind him, grinning. "Oh no, did the little new kid spill his lunch?" That's so sad." Max and Leo were cracking up half the cafeteria. Students took out their phones, already recording. Lucas stood there for a moment, his fists clenched. His breathing was even. Brian edged closer. "What's wrong? Gonna cry? Maybe you should run home to mommy." More laughter, more cameras. Lucas slowly looked up at Brian, his expression unchanging. That's when Brian first thought that something was off. Lucas wasn't scared. Lucas wasn't angry. He was just watching, calculating. And then he did something Brian never expected him to do. He smiled. A small, knowing smile. Brian frowned. Before he could walk, Lucas leaned down, surreptitiously picking up his tray. Keeping his head down, he turned and left the table to walk away. The cafeteria burst into laughter again. "That's what I thought!" Brian yelled, puffing his chest out. But deep down inside himself, he knew that something was amiss. He had recognized fear before. He knew what it looked like, and whatever he had seen in Lucas's eyes hadn't been that. It had been different, and soon Brian would find out just what. That night, Brian, Max, and Leo spent time at their usual haunt at the skate park, kidding around about what had occurred in the cafeteria. "Did you see his face?" Max joked. "Guy didn't even try to defend himself." "Yeah, most likely half scared to death," Leo chimed in. Brian was quieter than normal, though. Something about Lucas's reaction still got under his skin. That smile. It wasn't a nervous smile. It was a waiting smile. The Bullies arrived at school early the following morning. Today, they were going to push Lucas around behind the gym, out of teacher and camera range, and scare him so badly that he'd never even consider standing up to them again. But by the time they got there, something was amiss. Lucas was already there. He was in the center of the empty room, hands in pockets, very relaxed, just about expectant. Brian smirked. "Look who finally went and got some nuts. What? Here to tell us to leave you alone?" Lucas tipped his head to one side, and then he spoke for the first time. "No," he whispered. "I'm here to warn you." Brian blinked. "Warn me? About something?" Lucas moved forward slowly. "About what happens when you mess with the wrong guy." Max and Leo exchanged a confused look. Brian grinned. "Oh, this is cute. The little new kid thinks he's tough stuff." It was over in an instant. Before Brian could even react, Lucas's hand shot out, his wrist locked in a steel hold, a twist, a shift of weight, and Brian was on the ground, gasping in shock. The hunter was preyed upon now. And Brian experienced fear for the very first time.